I've been thinking all week about your sermon from last Sunday. Oh, it's really wonderful, Dr. Harper. In only 2 short years, you've taken on the spirit of Brooklyn.
That's very gratifying, Miss Brewster.
You see, living next to the church our whole lives, you see many ministers come and go. The spirit of Brooklyn, as we always say, is friendliness. And your sermons are not so much sermons as friendly talks.
Well, personally, I've always enjoyed my talks with the Carpenters. Or have I met you?
No, dear, not yet. Are the biscuits good?
Oh, holy!
Won't you have another biscuit, Dr. Harper?
No, thank you. I'll have no appetite for dinner now. I always eat too many of your biscuits just to have a taste of that lovely jam.
Well, you haven't tried the quince. We always put a little apple in it to take the tartness out.
No, thank you.
We'll send you over a jar.
No, thank you. You keep it here so I can be sure of having your biscuits with it.
I sure hope they don't make us use that imitation flour. I mean, with all this war trouble, it may not be very charitable of me, but I've almost come to the conclusion that this Mr. Hitler isn't a Christian.
If only Europe were on another planet.
Europe, sir?
Yes, Teddy.
Point your guns the other way.
Guns?
Teddy?
To the west. There's your danger. There's your enemy, Japan.
Why, yes. Yes, of course.
Teddy?
No, England. Not so much talk about Europe and more about the canal.
Well, let's not talk about war now, dear. Won't you have another cup of tea?
No, thank you, Italian.
Dr. Harper?
No, thank you. I must admit that war and violence seem far removed from these surroundings.
It is peaceful here, isn't it?
Yes, peaceful. The virtues of another day, they're all here in this house. The gentle virtues that went out with candlelight and good manners and low taxes.
It's one of the oldest houses in Brooklyn. It's just as it was when Grandfather Brewster built and furnished it. Oh, except for the electricity, but we use it as little as possible. It was Mortimer who persuaded us to put it in.
Yes, I can see that. Your nephew Mortimer seems to live only by electric light.
He has to work so late, the poor boy. I understand that he's taking Elaine with him to the theater again tonight. Teddy, your brother Mortimer will be here a little later. Oh, we're so happy it's Elaine Mortimer takes to the theater with him.
Yes, I must admit that it's a new experience for me to wait up until 3 o'clock in the morning for my daughter to be brought home.
Oh, Dr. Harper, I hope you don't disapprove of Mortimer.
Well...
Oh, we'd feel so guilty if you did, Sister Martha and I. I mean, since it was here at our home that your daughter met Mortimer.
Of course, Miss Abby, and I'll say at once that I believe Mortimer himself to be quite a worthy gentleman. But I must also admit that I watched the growing intimacy between him and my daughter with some trepidation. For one thing, Miss Abby...
You mean his stomach, Dr. Harper?
Stomach?
Oh, his dyspepsia, it bothers him so.
No, Miss Abby, I'll be frank. I'm speaking of your nephew Mortimer's unfortunate connection with the theater.
The theater? Oh, no, why Mortimer writes for a New York newspaper.
I know, Miss Abby, I know. But a dramatic critic is constantly exposed to the theater, and I don't doubt that some of them do develop an interest in it.
Oh, well, not Mortimer. You need to have no fear of that. Why, Mortimer hates the theater.
Really?
Oh, yes, he writes awful things about the theater, but you can't blame him, the poor boy. He was so happy writing about real estate, which he really knew something about. And then they made him take that terrible night position.
My.
As he says, the theater can't last much longer, and in the meantime, it's a living. Yes, I think if we give the theater another year or two, perhaps. Well, who do you suppose that is? No, thank you, Teddy. I'll go. Come in, Mr. Brophy.
Good afternoon, Miss Brewster.
How are you, Miss Clyde? Very well, Miss Brewster.
What news have you brought me?
Colonel, we have nothing to report.
Splendid, gentlemen. At ease.
You know Dr. Harper? Sure. Hello, Dr. Harper.
Oh, we've come for the toys for the Christmas fund.
Oh, yes.
That's wonderful work you do, fixing up broken toys to give poor children a happier Christmas.
It gives us something to do while we're down at the station. You get tired of playing cards, so you start cleaning your gun. And the next thing you know, you shot yourself in the foot.
Teddy, go upstairs and get that big box from your Aunt Martha's room. How is Mrs. Brophy today? Oh, Mrs. Brophy's been quite ill, Dr. Harper.
Pneumonia.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Oh, she's doing much better now. A little weak still.
I'll get you some beef broth to take to her.
Oh, don't bother, Miss Abby. You've done so much for her already.
Oh, I won't be a minute. Sister Martha's taking some report Mr. Beninsky right now. Sit down and be comfortable, all of you.
She shouldn't go to all that trouble.
Listen, try to stop her or her sister from doing something nice, and for nothing. They don't even care how you vote.
When I first received my call to Brooklyn, my wife fell ill. When she died months beforehand, well, if I've ever known complete kindness and absolute generosity, it's because I've known the Brewster sisters.
Colonel, you promised not to do that.
But I have to call a candidate. Sure, they're releasing those supplies.
He used to do that in the middle of the night. The neighbors raised Cain with us. They're a little afraid of him anyways.
Oh, he's quite harmless.
Suppose he does think he's Teddy Roosevelt. There's a lot worse people he could think he was.
Darn shame, a nice family like this hatching a cuckoo.
Well, grandfather. I heard he was crazy too.
Yeah, crazy like a fox. He made $1 million.
Really? Here in Brooklyn?
Yeah, had to defend him. He was a quack of some sort. Old Sergeant Edwards remembers him. He used to house here as a sort of clinic. Tried him out on people.
I heard he made a few mistakes occasionally too.
Yeah, the department never bothered him much though, because he was useful on autopsies sometimes. Especially poison cases.
Well, whatever it was he did, he left his daughter set for life. Thank God for that.
Not that they ever spent any of it on themselves.
Yes, I'm well acquainted with their generosities.
You don't know a tenth of it. When I was with the missing